Our adventure thus far proceeds poorly. Like a lot of board gamers, here at Cook That Game we're big Dungeons & Dragons fans. However, as a frustrated GM and mild totalitarian, I have periodically found myself irked by players who won't follow my story and make bafflingly foolish decisions. My God, Alex, why would you even think that was okay? For our first episode of Single Serving though, I think I've come up with a solution. Because this month on Cook That Game, we're serving up Set a Watch. Set a Watch is a cooperative dice action selection game for 1 to 4 players, designed by Todd, Walsh and Gnade. We play as a party of heroic adventurers, fresh from our victorious quest to vanquish the evil Unhallowed. Unfortunately, it now turns out that the evil Unhallowed are somewhat less vanquished than we had intended, and we need to go on another heroic quest to vanquish them again, otherwise the king is going to want all of his money back. We'll win the game if we can get through 9 days of encounters and defeat a final horde of monsters at a final location. If at any time all of our adventurers' abilities become exhausted, we will have fallen in battle and the land will be plunged into darkness. On the bright side, once we're dead, we don't have to refund the king anyway. Each of the 9 rounds in a game of Set a Watch proceed in basically the same way. Firstly, we'll reveal the location card for that round. Think of that as where we're camping for the night after a day's journey. Second, we'll check how much the fire is going to burn down, how many monsters we'll be facing during the night, and any special conditions applying to that location. Then, we're going to take the 3 dice for each adventurer and roll them. These will be our dice for that night. Once we have our dice, we need to decide which of our 4 adventurers is going to tend the camp for the night, while the other 3 set a watch around the perimeter. The adventurer who tends camp will get to turn one of their exhausted abilities back to the active side and will be able to take these camp actions that will benefit the party as a whole. They'll also take one of these camp tokens to indicate that they've been to the camp. Every player across the 9 rounds of Set a Watch must camp twice. Then the action really starts. First, we'll take this monster deck and deal out a number of monsters equal to what was given on our location card. For the white monolith, that's going to be 6. This is the line. This is the group of monsters that are shuffling out of the dark to attack our camp and need to be defeated. However, we can only see as many monsters as our fire permits. At the moment, the fire will let us see the first 2 monsters in the line. That would be this wyvern and this forest giant. Importantly, the adventurers on watch can only attack monsters that they can see. That means the lower our fire is, the less effective our powers are, and the more nasty surprises there might be hidden out there in the dark. So, how do we fight these monsters? Our adventurers have a couple of options. Firstly, they can take one of their dice and use it to deal direct damage. For example, this fighter might decide to do 5 damage to this wyvern. That's not going to be enough to kill it, because the wyvern has a health of 6. However, if the rogue wanted to chip in with their 1 dice, that wyvern is on its way to the graveyard. The other thing our heroes can do is use their powers. There's 2 ways to activate powers. One is to assign a die to them. Once you do that, you can no longer use that die for direct damage, but the power will activate. Alternatively, you can choose to exhaust a power in order to use it. That's a great way to use a power twice in a round, or use a power if your dice are already used for other things, but it does bring your adventurer closer to death, which will end the game. When all of the adventurers on watch run out of dice, the night ends. Then, any creatures left standing will do this much damage, basically forcing us to exhaust that many abilities across the party, and will be added to the Horde. The Horde is an ever-growing pile of monsters that will be added to the line when we reach our final location. The worse we do in earlier rounds, the tougher the horde and the harder our final battle will be. If our party can persevere, if we can battle our way through 9 nights of monster attacks and defeat the horde and vanquish the unhallowed, we will have a chance to return peace to these lands and keep our gold. Hey, and welcome to a single serving here at Cook That Game. For those of you who missed our channel update last month, while we're responsibly social distancing during the COVID-19 pandemic, we can't get together and play games the way we normally would. So one of the ways that we're getting around that is I'm going to do single servings, which will be me and a single player game, or in this case, a cooperative game where I'm playing all the characters. And we'll just kind of talk our way through it and muddle on through. So we are all set up for a game of Set a Watch. We've got our 9 different location cards. We have 4 characters. There's a bunch of different characters that come with Set a Watch. I think it's 6 in the standard game, and I've got a couple of extras in the deluxe game. But as any D&D player knows, there is exactly one standard party consisting of a warrior, a rogue, a cleric, and a wizard. Or if you want to be more appropriate, their names are Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia. I really hope someone who watches this show gets that joke, or I'll feel like I've just wasted... No, I haven't wasted. That was a glorious joke. And if you don't watch The Golden Girls, then you need to get on that. Okay, let's get into it. It's day 1, so we are going to start by rolling up some dice for each of our characters. As part of setup, we deal 3 random abilities to each of our heroes. One of them starts the game exhausted, so I don't have access to that ability until that hero's been to camp and rested or healed to get that ability back. I am not super loving the combination of abilities I've started with. A couple of okay ones in there, but I'm not getting some of those nice... We'll talk about this a bit more later. Not getting some of the nice sort of connections between abilities that I want. However, our first location, we start in a fire swamp. So normally we would lose 3 firewood to start this. Because this is our first location for the game, we don't lose any firewood. We just start at 7. We'll be able to see 2 monsters in the line, which is not really as many monsters as I would like to be seeing. And we'll have 6 monsters in the line for this first night. And then every time a first position creature power activates, we lose a firewood. So that's pretty bad. I've got a couple of tricks to get around this though. So the first thing we're going to do, we need to select an adventurer who will spend the night in camp. That's going to be our warrior. And the reason it's going to be a warrior is every adventurer's got their own camp power. So a special thing that only they can do in camp. The warrior with a wood axe gets to increase the firewood by 4. Normally, if we just took one of these chop firewood actions, we'd increase the firewood by 2. So with a couple of actions, I can get us up seeing 3 monsters in the line, which will be fantastic. I've also got a couple of other things I want to do with this warrior because I don't love the abilities that I got for them. So first thing we're going to do, we reactivate an ability. So that will be helpful. We're going to assign a die to chop firewood, so that takes us from 7 firewood up to 11. Still not quite enough to get the 3, but that's okay. We can work around that because we'll add another die to chopping firewood, brings us up to 13. So we're now seeing 3 monsters in the line. It's a very good time. I think for the last thing I want to do is I'm going to equip. When you equip, you pick an ability that your hero currently has and swap it out for one of the other 2 abilities that they could have had. So there are 5 abilities per hero. Each game you start with 3 at random. So what have we got? We have Throw Axe, deal 8 damage to a revealed creature in the second position. So that's important. So these melee characters, like the warrior and the rogue, can only attack a monster in the first position of the line. The ranged characters, like the cleric or the wizard, can attack monsters in the first 2 positions. Super important. So we've got Throw Axe, that could be handy. We have Giant's Bane. All adventurers' dice assigned to creatures with 10 or greater health are doubled until the end of the round. That's really powerful, but we don't see that many creatures with 10 plus health, and this party's got a few other tricks that it can rely on to get rid of those creatures. So I might get rid of that. And then Wound, lower revealed creatures' health by half, round down. That's really useful, and that combos pretty nicely with some other things that I want to bring in. But I think the first thing I'm going to bring in is Cleave. So we're going to get rid of Giant's Bane, replace it with Cleave. Cleave is a passive ability, so normally you'd need to assign a die to an ability if you wanted to use it. Cleave is just always in play. If you defeat a creature with a die and there is a remainder, you may keep that die at the remaining value. So basically you get to keep any difference. That's great because you can take a die that rolled high, assuming I get dice that roll high, and my odds look not great so far. Take that high roll, kill a creature with it, keep the difference, use that difference to activate a power. Amazing little combo that you can pull. And if I can get another power in later, and I'll talk about that then, that'll be handy. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the camp phase. So I guess we need some monsters in the line. Okay, well, that's not an amazing start to think. Oh, wow, that's... Okay, that's not friendly. So let's talk about this here line. First thing we dealt out was a bandit. The bandit will steal one available die of the party's choosing. So I'm just going to lose a die straight out of the gate, and I will not get it back. Not ideal. Also, because we're in this fetid swamp and a first position creature power has activated, we lose a firewood. Also not my favorite thing. We do have the benefit of this tree ant, who will give us 2 extra firewood when we defeat it, because we will take this gorgeous wooden defender of the forest and, you know, set it on fire. But we also have this fire serpent, and this fire serpent's health is equal to the current firewood value. So that's currently got a health of 12. And I don't love this fact. I will tell you now. There's a couple of tricks that I might be able to use to bust it up though, so stick with me. Firstly, I need to have a die stolen by the bandit. Bandit's just going to get one of these ones from the rogue because they're not amazing. I think what we might do is use this other one of the rogue to activate poison blades. So the next 2 direct attacks from the party deal +2 damage for each revealed creature. So at the moment that's going to deal an extra 6 damage on top of whatever the attack would normally do. Since I'm dealing an extra 6 damage, I'm just going to take this 3 that the cleric, I should say, has, throw it on this tree ant. Because this is a ranged character, they can hit the monster in the second position. That tree ant is going to go down. That is all we need to vanquish the tree ant. Okay, cool. We have a second fire serpent. That's probably not the ideal situation for me. Fortunately, I've still got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. So its health is, oh, and we get 2 more firewood for the tree ant. So that's 14 health that each of those is bringing to the party. However, here's a cool trick that we can pull. This wizard has got Illuminate. Illuminate lets me sacrifice firewood and reveal the next creature in line for every firewood I spend. There's 2 creatures left in line. I'm going to sacrifice 2 firewood. Flip each of these up. Okay. It's a couple of really cool effects that I'll come to in a second. Annoyingly, this grave shifter. So on reveal, swap this card with a creature on top of the graveyard. So this tree ant comes straight back into play. Here's the cool thing that I've just done. Now that there are 5 creatures revealed, the Rogue's Poison Blades become even more powerful and are going to add +10 to the next attack. So that's really nice for me. And that's one of those sort of linked up powers that I was kind of touching on before. So using Illuminate to bring more creatures visible in the line, then using the Rogue's Poison Blades to get just monster damage. So currently this has got a health of 12. I can do a direct attack with this 4 from the Cleric. That Fire Serpent is nicely toasted. Does one toast Fire Serpent? Does Fire Serpent come pre-toasted? Let us know in the comments. Okay, Fire Serpent moves up, Wolf moves up, Treant at the back of the line. Now, that's my 2 Poison Blade attacks that have been used. One for the Treant, one for the Fire Serpent. No more Poison Blade attacks for the rest of this round unless I want to exhaust that power. And I may end up doing that. I haven't decided just yet. What I will do in the meantime, though, is take one of these 4s from the Wizard, apply it to the Fire Serpent. That's not going to be enough to kill it. One of the other powers that Sophia here has is Curse. Defeat a creature that already has an attack die assigned to it. This Fire Serpent has an attack die. Let's take this other 4. The Fire Serpent is cursed and destroyed. All right, we're mulching our way through this line. So there's 3 dice left in play, 2 5s and a 6. I need to do 4 damage, 7 damage, 9 damage. I can't currently hit hard enough. But what I can do is choose to exhaust Poison Blade to bring it into effect again. And that means my next 2 attacks will add +6, well, +6 for the first one because there's 3 revealed creatures, and then +4 for the second one because there'll be 2 revealed creatures left. I'm going to apply this 5 damage. So he stole that die. He's not hurt by it. Apply 5 damage to this bandit. +6 is 11 damage, which you will note is a lot more than 7. So that bandit is toast. Now, because my rogue has got the Stay Dead passive ability, this card is not going to the graveyard. This card is going out of the game entirely. That's kind of good if I'm using it for annoying or powerful monsters, and that bandit is annoying because he steals dice. I don't want to use it too frequently though, because there are some nasty little time bombs in my creature deck, and the fewer cards left in the creature deck, the more at risk I am going to be of those coming out. Next attack will do +4. Let's go 6. +4 is enough to beat 9. So that's done. We get 2 more firewood again. And then all I need to do is take this nice little 5 that the Cleric has, whack the wolf on the head with my mace, or that's, yeah, no, that's a, look at that. That mace is vastly impractical, and I'm very into it. Love a good impractical fantasy weapon. And that ends day 1. Day 2. So first thing we're going to do on day 2, as always, is roll some bones. All right, our location for day 2 is the Witch's Shack. Ooh, so we're going to go from 14 down to 8. That's going to reduce us down to only seeing 2 creatures. We'll get 7 monsters in the line, which I'm also not a big fan of, but we will collect an extra firewood for each die spent chopping wood. That's kind of good, but it's got some other problems that I'm not so into, because I didn't actually want to spend my dice chopping wood this turn. Okay, this time around we're sending the Rogue into camp. The Rogue's special action is like a supercharged version of the equip action. So I can do it with any dice, I'll just do it with this 1. The Rogue is prepared. The Rogue gets to perform an equip action. Sorry, first we're gonna flip Poison Blade back up to get, because we healed that. So the 2 options we have for the Rogue, we have Throwing Daggers, boosted dice to its maximum value, direct attacks are ranged this round, so that's potentially quite good. Or Smoke Bomb, choose a revealed creature and treat their printed text box as if it were blank. That could be really handy for dealing with things like fire serpents, because that would eliminate their health. Yeah, I think we're going to take Smoke Bomb, and we're going to swap it for Stay Dead, because I'm nervous about taking too many creatures out of the monster deck. That could end really poorly. Next thing we're going to... Oh, and now somebody else gets to take a new ability. Someone else gets to do an equip. So that's going to be our warrior, I think. We're going to drop Throw Axe, and we're going to bring Berserker into play. So this is that combo that I really wanted to create with the warrior. Cleave and Berserker. So with Cleave, we can take a dice that rolled high, hit a monster with it, get a small dice on the back end. Then if you use Berserker, defeat a revealed creature of lesser health adjacent to a creature that you just defeated. So I can get amazing roll-ons with this combination. Very cool. I'm very into it. The rogue is going to heal and get this backstab ability. So the rogue and the warrior now have all of their abilities ready. That's a good start for me. And then we are going to chop firewood for our last action. Doesn't bring us up enough to see 3 creatures in the line, unfortunately. But, all right, that's the camp phase done. Gross. Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Real gross. All right. 5 more cards for a line of 7. On reveal, this vampire steals the highest available die to become that creature's base health. Highest available die is this 7, which was the best die, the only good die, in fact, that I had for my warrior. Not great. What makes it even worse, however, is that we now have a summon. Here's what summon cards do. They ruin your day. And these are the ones, these are those little time bombs in the deck that I was afraid of when I decided I really didn't want to remove too many cards from the creature deck with the rogue. So, first thing that this summon card is going to do is immediately exhaust an adventurer card. Then we are going to send this summon card to the graveyard and replace it with an unhallowed card. The unhallowed are bosses, basically. We start with 1 unhallowed here in the horde, so we're going to deal with them at the end of the game, but we are going to just be adding these little sub-bosses all the way through. Wyvern Rider, on reveal, all wyverns in the graveyard are placed behind the rider in line. There are not any wyverns currently in the graveyard, which is very fortunate for me. So this vampire is an undead. There are going to be other undead in the deck. The cleric can cleanse undead. All revealed undead creatures go to the graveyard. You can decide the order in which they're defeated. That's going to be very important. I've also got Blinding Light. Reveal up to 2 creatures, negating any ill abilities. So I think we're going to start by doing that. Let's get a few more creatures out, see if we can find any more undead. We don't find any more undead. These goblins are going to move straight to the first position. Then, this forest giant. The giant's health always gets the health of the creature behind it added on. So they can get to monstrously high health. We will flip this. Oh! Okay, it's an acolyte. That's not ideal. But because we used... no, we didn't reveal it with Blinding Light, we revealed it with the Forest Giant. So with the Forest Giant, you always have to reveal the creature behind it. Had I revealed that Acolyte with Blinding Light, I would have been able to cancel its reveal ability. Instead, I just have to take a creature from the creature deck, add it straight into the Horde. So that Horde's going to be building up this entire game, and then I'm going to have to deal with all of them in the last round. Oh boy, oh boy. And herein lies my mistakes, because I had other warrior powers that just straight up did damage, and I got rid of them, or didn't choose to add them, in favor of ones that rely on me getting good dice rolls. What I might do, though, is exhaust Blinding Light to use it again to reveal these last 2 creatures, because if there are other undead here, I want to take them all out in one hit. Okay. Okay, that's a little bit better. So this vampire normally would have stolen the highest available die to become its health on reveal. Because we revealed it with blinding light, it's not going to do that. Now we can use this 4 on Cleanse Undead. Both of these vampires go straight to the graveyard. We are going to use Wound. So Wound lowers a revealed creature's health by half, rounded down. So that's going to turn this Wyvern Rider from 12 down to 6. What we want to do instead is clear out this goblin with a 2 and a 4. So that's 6 damage to finish off the goblin. That is going to move this Wyvern Rider into first place. Then we're going to use our dirty little trick using Curse. And it's going to be extra effective here because I can put 1 damage on that Wyvern Rider. And the Wyvern Rider laughs because that's 1/12 of its health, and it's not really a big deal. And then the wizard goes, "Hey buddy, you're cursed." At which point he explodes into a puddle of goo and goes to the graveyard. Alright, we're going to exhaust Wound in order to lower a revealed creature's health by half. So that goes from 13 down to 7. We're then going to hit it for 4 and hit it for 4 again, because this hit from the warrior has brought the total to 8. That means there is a remainder of 1, and thanks to Cleave, I get to keep that remainder. So that die comes back to me, and that giant is toast. Then I can use that 1 to activate Berserker. The Forest Giant had 7, this Acolyte has 6. That attack rolls on from the Forest Giant, finishes off the Acolyte. That leaves me in a situation where I have literally nothing I can do about this Eagle. That Eagle is going to go through and join the Horde and force me to exhaust another ability. I think we might exhaust Cleanse Undead, and it might be the Cleric's turn to go into camp next turn, because the Cleric's got some cool stuff that they can do with healing. Okay, day 2, not a great day for me. However, let's see how we go on day 3. Day 3, as always, we're going to start by Cleric is going into camp. First thing the Cleric is going to do is recover Blinding Light. We're going to get that back for free. The Cleric is also going to use a heal with this die that is exactly 6. So that's very cool. We're going to bring Chaos Blast into play. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. Revealing location. Haunted Manor. Oh, and that's important. So we do get +2 firewood. That's pretty cool. However, the adventurer who rests in camp does not refresh an ability card, so I don't get Blinding Light back for free. Still going to use the heal to give the wizard back Chaos Blast. However, I'm going to have to use this 5+ on the Cleric's heal ability. So in the same way that Wood Axe is kind of an overcharged chop wood, and Prepared is an overcharged equip, Heal is a bit of an overcharged heal that lets me do that with any die of 4+ rather than a die that is exactly 6. Very useful power. And that's what's going to be what gives me Blinding Light back. I had hoped I would be able to check the map, but I can't do that. Checking the map lets me take 1 card from this location deck and 1 from this unused location deck that you might not be able to quite see in the box, and choose which one I want. That gives me a lot more, potentially much better options. Can't do that. What I will do instead is scout ahead. When I scout ahead, I take 2 cards from the top of this creature deck. I can then decide if they go back to the... Ooh, you shouldn't be there, Goblin Chief. You're an Unhallowed. So clearly what I meant to say when I did that was, because that Goblin Chief is an Unhallowed and should not have been hiding there in the creature deck, what I actually drew was a Goblins and a Skeleton. So Goblins always go to the first position. They have 7 health. And Skeletons, if Skeletons are on top of the graveyard at the end of the round, put them at the start of the line next turn. I think I'm going to leave them on top, and here's the reason. I can see that the next Unhallowed coming out is a Necromancer. When you reveal the Necromancer, you place the top two undead creatures from the graveyard in front of the Necromancer in line, weakest first. If the Necromancer comes out, the two undead currently in the pile are both vampires, who will then steal my best dice. It will be a bit of a fiasco. If I can get these skeletons into the graveyard, they're a little bit more managed. So I'm okay with them being at the top of the pile. And I know that's what's coming now, so that makes my life a little bit easier. Let's deal ourselves a line of 6 creatures. Unsurprising skeletons, unsurprising goblins, slightly surprising and very unwelcome summon. Oh wow. And this is a slightly different summon to the one we got before. This is going to be a very bad time for me. So, immediately replace this card with the top card from the Unhallowed deck, shuffle all Unhallowed and Acolytes in the graveyard back into the creature deck, then put this card in the graveyard. Okay, so, firstly, Necromancer comes into play. I was really afraid of this. Now, place the top 2 undead creatures from the graveyard in front of the Necromancer in line, weakest first. The top 2 undead creatures from here are, oh look, it's a vampire. Oh look, it's another vampire. The vampires, upon being revealed, steal the highest dice available. That will be the 8 and the 7 that my warrior finally managed to get. So for those keeping track at home, my warrior finally got good dice. Amazing roll. An 8, a 7, and a 6. Almost couldn't wish for better. And then promptly had the 8 and the 7 stolen. So, also on top of that, I need to add the Wyvern Rider and the Acolyte back into the creature deck. Oh, and because my Cleric is in camp, I don't have Cleanse Undead. That sure would have been handy right about now. Oh, and the goblins should be in first place because that's what goblins do. And I don't want to kill the skeletons last or they will come straight back in the next day. The rogue, I think, is going to use Backstab, so that lets me reveal 2 creatures and then defeat one of them whose health is equal or under my total die roll for the round. So that's 8. So if either of these cards comes up with an 8 or less, and both of them did, I can just shank one straight off. This also seems like a really good opportunity for some poison blades. Because currently there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures revealed in the line. Let's go wild here. Let's use a Chaos Blast. When we use the Chaos Blast, defeat 2 revealed adjacent creatures and add a new creature to the end of the line. So I think we're going to take out this Necromancer and this Vampire. They just get all blown up in a blast of pure chaos energy. It is delightful. New creature at the end of the line. You know what? I'm just going to Chaos Blast again. I'm going to exhaust Chaos Blast and just... It's kind of like fireballs. When in doubt, throw more fireballs is a pretty well-known thing in Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who have never played. I'm just going to blow up this other vampire and these skeletons. It's kind of like Cleanse Undead, but a lot messier and with a lot more explosions. A Shade. Okay, we can deal with a Shade. A Shade is fine. So a Shade's base health is equal to 16 minus the current firewood value. The current firewood value is 13. So that Shade has only got 3 health. That's fine. I can absolutely work with that situation. We do need to add another one to the back of the line for Chaos Blast, though. We're going to hit these goblins with a 3. That brings them down to 4 health. We then hit them with a 6. That leaves the warrior with a remainder of 2 thanks to Cleave, which is immediately going to activate Berserker and power on through to take out that wolf. Sorted. Shade's only got 3 health. We got an Acolyte. And we got a Fell Beast. Yikes. So the Fell Beast, if it reaches first position, draw a creature and place it in front of the Fell Beast. Activate it only once. On reveal for the Acolyte, add a creature to the Horde. We definitely don't want the Acolyte to reach first position because then we reshuffle a summon card back into the creature deck from the graveyard. As you may be picking up by now, summon cards are a bad time for me. We're going to use Poison Blade. We're going to exhaust it, because I don't think we have much other option right now. The next 2 direct attacks from the party each deal +2 damage for each revealed creature. So this next attack is adding +6. So the Wizard is going to throw a 3 on this Acolyte and just take it straight out. So what we're going to have to do here, put the 5 on the Fell Beast. We add 4 because of the Poison Blade, but that only brings it to 9, and this thing has got a health of 10. Which means the way we're going to have to take it down is by exhausting Curse, which I really didn't want to have to do, but it would exhaust 2 abilities if it made it through the line, and it would show up in the Horde, and it's not something I need in my life. And then we take this final 3 that the Rogue has, pop it on the Shade. We have somehow taken out that entire line. That was nasty. That was a bad day 3. But we got through it. So, in a second, it'll be time for day 4. Our adventure thus far proceeds poorly. Drawing a new location for the day. A sea fortress. -4 firewood, bringing us down to 9. Not loving it. 7 creatures in the line, also not great. If an Unhallowed is summoned here, place the summon card at the bottom of the creature deck. Every part of that is bad. Every single part of this is bad. That is one of the worst possible cards I could have drawn. Sophia, you are going into camp. You are going to recover your Chaos Blast. You're going to use your 6 to heal your Curse. Continuing the theme of these abilities basically being empowered versions of other things, we have got Teleport. So Teleport is like Check Map, but way better, because now instead I choose 3 cards off this deck and swap one of them in for the card on top. So let's just look at our options here. We have the Grand Arena. Adventurers can't combine dice with other adventurers for direct attacks. -4 firewood, 6 creatures. I don't think so. Goblin Caves, -3 firewood, 8 creatures, and we increase the health of all goblins by 3. No thank you. Snowy Pass, -3 firewood, only 6 creatures, but the lowest rolled die can't be used this round. No thanks. Oh, but what's this? This is a rest location. This is a type of location that is not in the normal location deck. We can only find them in the additional locations. It's a remote tavern. The adventurer resting in camp refreshes an additional card. We lose no firewood, and we only have 5 monsters to deal with. That sounds like a delightful place to go. Thank you, Sophia. You know how to find the best hotels. I can't actually remember if there's anything in the Golden Girls about Sophia finding good hotels. It's been a little while. Let me know in the comments if Sophia was some kind of hotel guru. Could be. Okay, 1 die left for the Wizard. I think we're going to do... Actually, let's do a Scout Ahead. I want to know what's coming, because I have a suspicion, whatever it is not going to be a real good time for me. A Fae and an Eagle. You know what, that's actually pretty okay. Eagle comes out first, so the Fae won't go into first position. Yeah, you can stay at the top of the deck. I am more than happy to deal with you. Day 4, we've got an Eagle. We've got a Fae. We have got 4 more cards, 5 more cards. Yikes. Let's get a little bit more visibility on this here line. And we're going to do that with a backstab. Reveal 2 creatures. The rogue's total for this round is 12, which is fantastic. So we've got a zombie horde and we've got an acolyte. The acolyte is still going to send something into the horde because its ability is automatic. But we are going to take out this zombie horde because, zombie hordes. Okay, so zombie horde's health is at, so the zombie horde gets the health of the creature that is on top of the graveyard added to it. The Shade's health at the moment is 7, and the rogue only had 12. We can't take out the zombie horde that way. We will have to take out this acolyte instead. Let's activate Blinding Light. Let's get eyes on this line. We've got a metal golem. We've got a wyvern. So the metal golem, no direct attacks can be assigned to the creatures in line behind the metal golem. The wyvern is -3 firewood if it reaches the first position. For our next trick, we're just going to take this Fae out before it comes and messes with our fire anymore. It goes straight to the graveyard. Now, that means the zombie horde's health is down to 12. Eagle for 3 damage. Zombie horde now only has 10 health. We're going to hit that zombie horde for 4. And then for another 4. Oh, its health is 10. We're going to exhaust Smoke Bomb, is what we're going to do. Choose a revealed creature and treat their printed text box as if it were blank. Okay, now that zombie horde has only got 7 health. 8 damage will take it out. We don't know what's coming up behind the wyvern just yet. All right, we're going to hit the metal golem with 6. We're going to hit it with another 6, which will leave us with a remainder of 4. We're then going to use this 2 on Berserker to finish off the metal golem and take out the wyvern, which is behind it at the same time. Last one, a bear. It's just a bear. It's a bear that I can't kill because my only remaining die is a 4. And it's got 5 health. After all of that, I powered through the line. The bear's going to take an ability off me. And all of that because I was 1 short. Day 5, the halfway point. Okay, first thing, rolling it up. As Samwise Gamgee once said, we're going to see the elves. You're welcome. That was some quality referencing that I did just there. Enjoy it. I, of course, being called Sam and being a giant nerd, it'll pop up somewhere here, or I don't know, Glenn will chuck it up there or something. It'll be somewhere on the screen. I, of course, get called Samwise Gamgee periodically. It's a bit of fun trivia about me. You can call me Samwise Gamgee anytime you want in the comments. You have my permission. Okay. Now that strange rambling interlude has been completed, Day 6 is done. We only have 3 days left on this journey. And once those 3 days are up, we'll be facing the final horde. Getting to the pointy end now, folks. 2 more days. My viewers, my beloved public, we have reached the final day of Set a Watch. We have one final location in which to adventure. It's the Catacombs. After the first creature is defeated, each player may re-roll an unspent die, who is 4 firewood. 1, 2, 3. Ouch, I was afraid of that. Okay, and now, in the Catacombs, we have 10 creatures, plus the Horde. That's what we're here to party with, everyone. There is all kinds of bad stuff in this deck. There are Unhallowed, there are summon cards, which will bring in more Unhallowed. There are Unhallowed at the bottom of this deck. Basically, this is our last stand. This is where we are going to throw everything at the situation. It's a wolf. The first thing we encounter at the Catacombs is a wolf. And a fae. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 10 cards. We're also adding this additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. That's quite a horde. I am not loving our party's chances. What we are going to do is unleash a blinding light. That's not a reveal ability, unfortunately. Well, there is no graveyard, so that's fortunate with this summon card. Instead, we're just going to add in this corrupted druid. Place this card and all revealed forest creatures, including tamed, into the horde, unless it's the final round, which it is, so that doesn't come into play. Also, we're going to backstab. So reveal another 2. I can take out something up to health 14, so let's just deal with that wyvern straight up. Now, everyone gets to reroll a die, which is also helpful, because my dice have been lousy. There we go, that's an 8. That's how you do it, Dorothy. That's what we like to see. Okay, well, that was a bit of a wash. Thanks very much, the Catacombs. The next thing we're going to do is backstab again. And we're going to exhaust backstab to do it. Yep, there's another summon. And another summon. Oh boy. Cool, we don't have any Acolyte cards in the graveyard, so the High Priestess's reveal ability doesn't trigger, and the Rogue is just going to backstab her straight to the graveyard. We're going to use Blinding Light again, and get another 2 creatures revealed. Skeletons, okay. Metal Golem, okay. We're going to illuminate, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I know this last card is an Unhallowed because you always add an Unhallowed as that card at the start of the game. Okay. There is not as much undead as I kind of hoped, although thankfully no vampires. So we're just going to take this opportunity to cleanse some undead, and I think we're just going to exhaust that to do it. So that is immediately going to deal with this zombie horde. It's going to deal with these skeletons. We have now brought this down to a fractionally more manageable 15 creatures. Wizard is going to put 5 on this Fae. That Fae is taken down. Then the warrior is going to hit this wolf with an 8. That 8 will get turned down into a 4. Something I am seeing that is a pretty bad time and I think is ripe for a Chaos Blast would be this nasty little pairing of a fell beast. No, 2 fell beasts. Don't love 2 fell beasts in a row. Chaos Blast that, please. We are going to hit this eagle for 3 and hang on to this die as a 1. Then we are going to activate Poison Blade. We are just going to do legitimately silly amounts of damage with our next couple of direct attacks, and I love it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 18 damage. So the warrior is going to use a 1 on this corrupt druid. That turns into 19 damage, and that's hilarious to me. Faye reaches the first position and takes out one of my... Yeah, I'm going to use Berserker to immediately take out this Fae. So actually I shouldn't have lost that health, which is good. The Phantom Cat is now vulnerable because there's nothing in front of it. The lowest die I have is one of these 2s. That goes on the Phantom Cat. Phantom Cat is down. We might just Chaos Blast again. We'll exhaust Chaos Blast. We will blow up the Wyvern Rider and the Forest Giant. Did not care for either of them. All right, we're going to drop a 6 on the Metal Golem, and then another 6 on the Metal Golem, which means this turns into a remaining 4. Metal Golem is out of the fight. Exhaust Berserker in order to take out this bear. And currently we're only revealing one thing at a time because we are that low on firewood, everyone. But there are 5 creatures left. Hit that with a 6 from the rogue. That is the rogue's last die. But we pop this over here. That's 10, take out 7. Oh, we lost. Oops, we just lost 3 firewood. That was really silly of me. But we do still get to keep 3 on that die, which is good. Eagle needs 5. Hit it. Sorry, it needs 4. We're going to hit it with this 5 from the wizard. Oh no. Okay, we're exhausting an adventurer card for the Wraith Lord. That's okay. Cleave has kind of served its purpose for us. Then we are going to put this 2 on the Wraith Lord and exhaust Curse. Wraith Lord is dealt with. Next up, goblins with 7 health. And I can't do it. I just can't do it. I've got a 3 left on this die. That's got 7 health. This next card, oh wow, that was a shade. That shade would have been monumentally tough. So, at the very final hurdle, Sophia, last adventurer standing, goes down. And it's over. Everyone, thank you very much for watching our first single serving. I'm sorry I could not bring you a victory. I'm sorry I couldn't bring us a victory. We came so close, but it was not to be. But I hope you enjoyed a single serving. I hope you enjoyed watching Set a Watch. Thank you for joining me for this little experiment. Do all the YouTube things. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you want to see more single serving. It's definitely something we're looking at for the future, but like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, and as always, even if it's from a distance, while we self-isolate for COVID-19, we will see you at the table.